Ever heard of a creature that sucks the blood out of goats?
I know.
It sounds crazy, right? But that's what some people believe about the Chupacabra. Welcome to Forbidden Unveiled, where we dive headfirst into these wild mysteries. I'm your host, John Doe, and tonight we're tackling the legend of the Chupacabra. Is it a real monster or just a myth? And joining me as always is our resident paranormal expert.
Hi, everyone. Excited to unpack this one. I mean, who doesn't love a good monster story?
Exactly. So this Chupacabra thing is not just some local legend, right? It's practically gone global.
It's true. We've got sightings reported everywhere, from the Americas to Russia and the Philippines. People all over the world seem to be captivated by this blood-sucking beast.
Okay, but where did this whole Chupacabra craze begin?
Our story starts back in 1975 in Moca, Puerto Rico. Farmers were finding their livestock dead with bizarre puncture wounds, completely drained of blood. Naturally, panic set in. They called it the Vampire of Moca. Imagine the fear gripping that small town as rumors spread of a blood-sucking creature lurking in the shadows.
I bet. So what did people think was behind these creepy livestock deaths?
Theories ran wild. Some blamed satanic cults, others pointed fingers at giant vampire bats. There was even this one farmer, Luis Torres, who found two huge 6-foot boas about to attack his cow. He killed them, but get this, the livestock deaths continued.
That's a chilling detail. It really adds to the mystery. So nobody ever actually saw this Vampire of Mocha.
Not clearly, no. It seemed like the creature vanished into thin air. Little did they know this was just the beginning. This fear of the unknown, of a blood-sucking creature lurking in the shadows, would resurface 2 decades later with a vengeance.
So we've got mysterious deaths talk of cults and giant bats. It's like a scene straight out of a B-movie. But when does the name Chupacabra actually show up?
Fast forward to 1995 back in Puerto Rico. More livestock deaths, same strange details. But this time the creature gets its infamous name, Chupacabra, which literally means goatsucker. Picture this, you find your goats drained of blood, and suddenly the name Chupacabra doesn't seem so far-fetched.
I can see where that name comes from. But what really cemented the Chupacabra in everyone's minds?
A vivid eyewitness account from a woman named Madeline Tolentino. She described seeing a creature that sounds like something straight out of science fiction. Imagine a bipedal, kangaroo-like creature with spikes, red eyes, no ears, and a strange nose.
Hold on, a spiky kangaroo-like creature with red eyes? That sounds oddly familiar. Like something from a movie, maybe?
You're picking up what I'm putting down. Some researchers believe Madeline's description might have been influenced by the 1995 film Species. It had a creature with a similar look. This raises a fascinating question, doesn't it? How much does pop culture shape our perception of the unknown?
That's a really good point. We see something in a movie and suddenly it feels more real, more possible. So after this sighting, did the Chupacabra panic just stay in Puerto Rico?
Not a chance. This terrifying image, fueled by media frenzy, spread like wildfire. Reports started pouring in from all across the Americas. People were terrified.
It sounds like everyone's on high alert for this Chupacabra. But were there any consistent descriptions of what it actually looked like?
That's where it gets even more interesting. Descriptions were all over the place. Some said it was reptilian. Others said it was more like a dog. Some claimed it had wings. Others said it didn't. This creature seemed to have as many faces as there were people describing it.
So we've got this monster on the loose, but nobody can agree on what it looks like. It's the ultimate game of telephone gone wrong. But was there any truth to these stories, or were people just seeing things?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? But here's something to think about. A lot of these Chupacabra sightings happen during times of drought.
That's an interesting connection. Are you suggesting that the environment might be playing a role in these sightings?
Exactly, when there's a drought, food and water become scarce. Desperate times call for desperate measures, right? So maybe these animals like coyotes or wild dogs are driven to attack livestock because they're starving.
So instead of a mythical monster, we might be dealing with a case of hangry animals.
Precisely. And a hungry predator is going to be a lot more aggressive and frenzied than one that's well-fed.
That makes sense. But what about the whole blood draining thing? That seems pretty specific to the Chupacabra legend.
Well, here's the thing. Autopsies on these supposed Chupacabra victims rarely show any evidence of actual blood draining. In most cases, the cause of death looks pretty similar to a regular predator attack.
So maybe the blood draining is more of an urban legend, like something that gets exaggerated over time.
It's definitely possible these stories get passed around and people tend to embellish the details. Plus, when you're dealing with something scary and unknown, it's easy to let your imagination run wild.
But hold on, what about all those people who claim to have actually seen the Chupacabra?
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. A lot of those cases where a chupacabra was caught or found dead. The culprit turned out to be a familiar face, canines like coyotes or dogs. But with a twist, they were suffering from a severe case of mange.
Mange, the skin condition. I don't get it. How could anyone mistake a mangy dog for a chupacabra?
Mange, especially the kind caused by mites, can completely transform an animal's appearance. It makes their fur fall out, their skin gets all thick and crusty, and they look really sickly and emaciated, basically. They end up looking pretty monstrous, especially at night. Or to someone who's already convinced they're looking at a chupacabra.
I see your point. So you're saying a mangy coyote under the cover of darkness could easily be mistaken for something much scarier.
Exactly. There's this case in Texas involving a researcher named Dr. Phyllis Canyon. She had been finding dead chickens on her property and saw these weird dog-like creatures lurking around. Then her neighbor found a dead chupacabra that had been hit by a car.
And I'm guessing Dr. Canyon had this supposed chupacabra tested.
She did DNA testing, confirmed it was a coyote-Mexican wolf hybrid with a severe case of mange. It explains why it looks so strange and why it was acting so desperately.
Okay, that's pretty convincing. But if the chupacabra is just a case of mistaken identity, why does the myth persist? Why do people still believe?
Well, think about it. Myths and legends tap into our primal fears. They represent the things that go bump in the night, the things we don't understand. The chupacabra, with its blood-sucking reputation and mysterious nature, plays right into those fears.
So even if science offers a logical explanation, there's still a part of us that wants to believe in the mystery.
Absolutely. And don't forget the cultural impact. The chupacabra has become a pop culture icon. You've got T-shirts, festivals, even tourist attractions all centered around this creature.
It's true. There's something undeniably fascinating about a good monster story, even if it turns out to be more bark than bite. But I guess the real question is, what do you believe? So after all this, where do you land on the chupacabra?
It's a tough one, isn't it? We've got these compelling eyewitness accounts, but then science steps in with explanations like mange and desperate predators.
It's like that saying, sometimes the simplest explanation is the best one. But I think that's what makes these mysteries so captivating. There's always that little bit of doubt, that possibility that there's something more out there that we don't fully understand.
I completely agree. Even when the evidence points in one direction, there's still that element of wonder and mystery. And sometimes it's fun to just embrace the unknown. Who knows, maybe there's a grain of truth hidden somewhere in these legends.
Maybe someday we'll have definitive proof, but until then, the chupacabra remains a captivating enigma.
Exactly. It's a reminder that the world is full of unexplained phenomena, things that make us question what we think we know. And that's what makes exploring these topics so exciting.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, folks, we've explored the origins of the chupacabra, the strange deaths, the conflicting descriptions, and even the scientific explanations. But ultimately, we want to hear from you. What do you think? Is the chupacabra real or just a myth? Head over to our social media and let us know your thoughts. We love hearing from fellow mystery enthusiasts.
And if this deep dive into the world of the chupacabra has sparked your curiosity, be sure to subscribe to Forbidden Unveiled for more explorations into the unknown. We've got a whole lot more mysteries waiting to be uncovered.
Thanks for joining us tonight. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep those eyes peeled for anything strange lurking in the shadows.